It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. Today, we welcome another champion from the NFL ranks. Drafted by the New England Patriots in the 6th round of the 2016 NFL Draft, he later played for the Philadelphia Eagles, winning his first championship ring when the Eagles defeated the Patriots in Super Bowl 52. He also filled in as a kicker during the 2017 season in a game against the Dallas Cowboys.
How about that bullet?
That's a beauty. Think about this.
You bring in your linebacker, and he kicks it to the goal line. He has to have a little soccer in that background somewhere. Pretty good for him, too.
No doubt.
And he recently wrapped up this NFL season as a member of the Miami Dolphins. It's Kamu Grugier-Hill, and he joins this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN right now with your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live stream edition of Listen In with KNN, presented right here by Fox Sports Radio. Thank you for joining me. It's February. Happy Black History Month. Yesterday, we just celebrated National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. And before I get to my special guest, I just want to thank all of you so much for continuing to support me and the show. I could not do it without you. And it's Super Bowl week. Definitely can't forget that. So I decided to bring in someone that knows a thing or two about winning a Super Bowl, knows his football, and so much more. He's joining me for the very first time on this show. He is none other, get excited, than Kamu Grugier-Hill. He is a Miami Dolphins linebacker currently. We're going to talk the latest and greatest in football, culture. You're going to learn a little bit about Hawaii and so much more. So without further ado, please help me welcome him to the show. How are you today?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. So first off, especially during the off season, we're just supposed to be relaxing and stuff. I truly appreciate you taking time out to be on the show. So tell us about the off season, how you're feeling, and hopefully staying COVID free, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I memean, the whole COVID year was crazy in itself. You know, the season with all the protocols and everything. So it's I was upset that our season ended, but you know, it's good to be home with the family and the friends and just to kind of relax right now.
Yeah, you guys got so close, right? So close, but there's always
so close.
And you of all people know about being in the postseason, right? So we're definitely going to talk about that. You said you're home with the families. Are you currently in Hawaii now, or are you relaxing?
Yeah, I'm back in Hawaii right now.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been because of COVID last year. I wasn't able to come home, so it's been about 18 months since I was last home, and so I'm loving every minute of it right now.
Oh, I know your family is spoiling you, and so happy. Like
yeah.
Changed everything. I definitely want to touch on that because I mean the season was a season unlike any other, right? But before we get there, I do want to talk about one of the cool things I saw on your Instagram. You've also been snowboarding recently, right?
Yeah, I know. Hey, don't tell my agent that. He was pretty upset. But yeah, we went, me and my friends. So I always, from the East Coast, try and split up the trip by like stopping somewhere on the West Coast and just kind of spend like a week out there and just vacation. So one of my boys and his girlfriend came out and just met me in Arizona. And I know of Arizona of all states, like didn't think we were going to find snowboarding, but it was kind of a spontaneous thing, and it was really fun. I'm glad we went.
I'm sure something you don't really get to do when you were growing up in Hawaii, right? So.
Oh yeah, no way. That was all of our first times going. So it was such a blast. And the second we left, we're like, we got to do this every year.
Too funny. To that point, do you remember the first time you saw snow in person?
Yeah, the first time was actually so I went to college in Eastern Illinois. First time ever left Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I remember we were out eating somewhere, and all of a sudden, like, this huge snowplow goes through the street, and me and my other friend that came with me from Hawaii were like, "What's that?" And all the guys from Illinois started laughing at us. They're like, "That's a snowplow." I was like, "What's it for?" And then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, it started dumping snow, and we ran out there like we were in like 5th grade. It was like such a blast. But that was the first time.
So much fun. Like, from the East Coast, we're used to snow. And one day you'll have to get up to DC. Even with COVID going on, somehow people still found a way to have a huge snowball fight on the national.
Right? I saw that. There was a big one in New York or something yesterday.
Yeah. We love snow, basically. So, yeah, if you want to get used to being on the East Coast. So happy to hear that. And you talked about Eastern Illinois University. We might as well get into your college playing days. 2012 to 2015, right? Your college career with the EIU Panthers. I also know on your Instagram, you posted a picture with our guy, Jimmy G. And I love this quote. You said, "We used to play in front of 5,000 people and 10-degree weather people with metal benches, no heaters, and house parties that Project X couldn't compete with." So I'm a little jealous you had parties that good, but I mean, obviously you got to get used to the cold playing at Eastern Illinois. So just talk about your experience there. It's so great to see that you and Jimmy G seem to be still good pals.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Crazy experience. When I got the scholarship there at first, really, like, I didn't even know where Illinois was on a map. And, I really didn't want to go, but my mom made me go. And the first 6 months there, I get there, it's like, the team was great, the guys were great, but it was just such a culture shock for me that I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. But then I went back, I was like, I'm going to actually give this a real shot. And it actually ended up being like the best years of my life. And I'm so thankful. Biggest blessing in disguise I've ever had. And yeah, when Jimmy, got drafted, because Jimmy was two years older than me. When he got drafted, he really kind of opened the door for me and just made it really clear and tangible for me to do what I do now.
Yeah, and do what you do now, which you do pretty well, which is why you're playing on the level of football. And I'm so happy that you shared the story. You talked about how hard it was to get acclimated, right? Like, we're a little jealous on the East Coast. You're going with palm trees and warm weather. Yeah. And then of all places, like you said, you go to Illinois, completely different climate. So I mean, what made it easier, I guess, to get acclimated? Did you bring a lot of stuff from home? Was your family able to come see you a lot? Like, talk about that.
Yeah, so one of my best friends from high school actually went with me. We both got a scholarship there. So that was like the hugest help for me, because I wasn't going through it alone. Me and him would both, like, we'd go out somewhere with some of the guys and we'd come back and be like, that was crazy. I can't believe, like, what is that? It was just so different to what we were accustomed to. So, I mean, it just took time, but then after we fell in love with it. And now I can't even, I love Hawaii. I'm from Hawaii and I'll always have a home here and my family will always be here. But, I have a house here, but I also want a house like somewhere in the mainland, because I fell in love with it, and the opportunities and just the bigger things that are out there is amazing for me.
Yeah, and that's so great to hear. And like you said, there's no place like home. So Hawaii has a special place in your heart. But tell me, what made you choose Eastern Illinois? Was that the school that gave the scholarship offer? Was it the coach? What really made it home for you, where you were able to grow your football career?
Yeah, so I wasn't the best student in high school. So I really started playing football. Yeah, I know. I really started playing football my junior year, but I didn't play too much because I had all these other issues off the field and stuff. So my senior year was really my only true year playing. So it was the only offer I had. It was the only scholarship I had. And like I said, when we first got the scholarship, me and my mom couldn't even point where Illinois was on a map. So I was like, I'm not going there. Like, we'll go to a junior college or something in California. And the head coach got on my mom, got her on a phone call for like 2 hours, and she hangs up the phone. She's like, "You're going." And so that was really that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear. All right, we have a live question for the fans I want to get to. While we're talking about Jimmy G, he wants to know, what's been the biggest bit of advice Jimmy G gave you entering the National Football League?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, talking to him, and it actually helped me because I got drafted to the Patriots with him. So I kind of got to, I'd go to his house and we would just kind of talk, and he would just kind of, it was more of just like he was letting me know how things worked and, what to expect and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like he said, he was just like, dude, it's football. It's the same thing we've been doing. It's the same thing you've been playing for a while. It's nothing's different. It's just go be you. And, I've held that till today. And I really think that's something I use.
Yeah, be you to the best of your abilities. And of course, I do want to talk Patriots with you. But before you even got there, I want to go back to your 2016 Eastern Illinois Pro Day where you kind of stood out. Right, 215 pounds. And get this, people, he clocked a 4.5 40-yard dash and jumped 38.5 inches on the vertical. So, you pretty much stood out, which is why, of course, we got to see you drafted. Talk about the preparation for that Pro Day. Were you nervous at all?
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking because being from a school so small, we had to go and do our pro day at Northwestern at a bigger school. Yeah. So it's like they had like all the Northwestern guys there, and then they had kind of the smaller school guys just kind of off to the side. And what they did was they made you run your 40 at first, and they wouldn't tell you the time. All they would do is call up everyone after, and if they called your name, you stayed, and if they didn't, you left. So. I heard my name called, and I was one of the few, and that was awesome. And then after one of the scouts told me I ran a 4.4, and I was excited. So that's just kind of after that I kind of I felt less pressure, and I just kind of just did me again.
Yeah, doing you. Like, no one can do you like you. So you're your best self. And obviously that led you to the National Football League. You get drafted in the 6th round by the New England Patriots. What a team to get drafted by. Do you remember that moment for you when you knew that you were joining the National Football League? I mean, an organization like the New England Patriots, who have built this great NFL dynasty. Yeah,
it was, I'll never ever forget that day. I had a bunch of my friends and family come out. We're doing a little something in Chicago, and just my goals for myself. I wish I got drafted higher. So there were certain times where I was like, oh, I can't believe they grabbed that guy, and just I was being overlooked. So throughout the day there was sometimes I was a little upset, but once my number got called and I was talking to Belichick and Robert Kraft, everything just went away, and it's just such a blessing. I'm so thankful for that day, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, and talking about days you'll never forget. So soon after, right, you get picked up by the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And the following year, lucky you, won Super Bowl against the Patriots, right? 41-33, who can forget that? So we got to talk about it. Winning a Super Bowl, not every guy will get to experience. What was that like for you?
It was amazing, man. Like, honestly, just like I said, I'll never forget the draft day. That day will be the number one memory in my life. And it wasn't even that day. It was just the entire year as a whole, the locker room, the teammates, the coaches, just really everything, the experiences we had. That Super Bowl week, we were in Minnesota, the events, I remember everything. It was such a blast, and I'm so grateful to have experienced that. But, it was almost like now that I have that taste, I want more. I want to win more Super Bowls. I want to, experience those moments again. Yeah, exactly. So that's hopefully in the future.
Yeah, and that year playing under Coach Doug Peterson, right?
Yep.
So talk about that relationship, because of course Doug is in the news now since he's out of Philadelphia. But just talk about what it was like playing under him when you were there in Philly.
Yeah, he was. Great coach. There's even after they split ways, him and the Eagles, I shot him a text and just said, like, thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for helping me to be the player I am today. He's just, he's one of those guys that lets the players be the player, and he doesn't try to control too much. He expects discipline and great football, but at the end of the day, he lets your personality shine and lets your strengths be your strengths, and for that I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, and you talk about discipline, going from the Patriots to the Eagles. I'm sure you got used to discipline, right?
Yeah. It's a little different. Those two are a little different, but definitely got a taste of it early.
And then now you're playing for the Miami Dolphins, and you guys ranked 20th in total defense, but a positive 6th in scoring defense. Of course, you were a part of that. So talk about the cultural change going from Eagles to now Miami Dolphins. Talk about the season that you had, because it was pretty special. Like you said, close. I know you guys didn't get there, but overall, I think you guys surprised a lot of people with the way the Miami Dolphins came out this season.
Yeah, it was definitely different than the Eagles because, like I said, the Coach Peterson let the players be the players, and especially the Super Bowl year, it was really player driven. The locker room, we had a lot of vets. Last year was my 5th year, and on the Dolphins that was like old. I was one of the vets, but in Philly that's not even touching the top. We had guys that were 11, 12, 14-year guys, and so it was a heavy veteran locker room. So coming to Miami with such a young team, it definitely helped. It was, I think, to our advantage though, because all the guys really just bought in and just put their head down and grind. And yeah, like you said, the year and the defense that we had this year was amazing.
And let's go to the offensive side of the football. People might have heard of this guy, Tua Tagovailoa, who has taken the world by storm, and talk about someone who shares your Hawaiian culture, right? But before we get there, what did you think about his rookie campaign and debut? I know it was a lot, right? A lot of eyes were on him. We know what he did at Alabama. Everyone liked him at Alabama, helping to get that national title. But overall, what do you think about the job he did? I know the Dolphins went 6-3 in the games he started. So I think, he lived up to expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you got to remember too that not only, this is a COVID year, those rookies didn't even have preseason games. They didn't even have, true training camps and all this kind of stuff because of all these protocols. So for him to come in and do what he did was I tipped the hat to him, and I'm excited for his future. And I know he attacks every day like a true professional. And when his number was called, he was there. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, and then again, having a guy that's like you from a similar background, what was that like? What's the locker room like? Have you guys taught the other guys about Hawaiian culture? I'm sure you've made the locker room more fun. Talk about that tag team.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So he was I think he was just graduating high school when I first got into the NFL. So that was we didn't really actually meet before that, but like when he came, we immediately we just bonded together. And like you said, in the locker room, we were playing all their local music, and in the hot tubs and stuff, we kind of put the whole team on that. So it was awesome, man. And I think that's why, God's blessed me with a path. I've had a Hawaiian friend come to me to college, and I had a friend in Jimmy going to the Patriots, and then again having another Hawaiian friend in Miami. So it's been such a blessing for me.
When we talk about, there's a lot of, y'all know how to play football basically, right, in Hawaii. This is nothing new. There's a long list of players. Marcus Mariota comes to mind. But what would you want the average fan to know about football in Hawaii and kind of how it carries over to the success of the guys that we see in the National Football League from that great state?
I always have this debate with guys in the locker room. They always say Florida has the best football or Texas has the best football. I tell them we're built different over here. The competitiveness and just the warrior spirit here is a little different. So we'll see though.
And what does it mean for you when you step on that football field to represent Hawaii? Like with that jersey on, I'm sure, hopefully inspiring other young guys from Hawaii involved in the game of football. What does that mean to you? What weight does that carry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the biggest thing that is just the pride that we have, that like us Hawaiians have is a different level, and, not everyone makes it out of Hawaii. And so, no matter what sport it is, it could be, UFC, boxing, football, anything, surfing, the whole state has your back. It doesn't really matter what team you're on, or, I've been on 3 teams essentially now. And I have all these Hawaiian fans that are fans of completely different teams, but, they're just, the support here is just amazing. So I think that's the one thing that just is so amazing here.
Something special. And of all places, it's similar to Hawaii. How great is it that you're in Miami, right? You're not anymore in New England.
Absolutely. That was, right when I found out that, Brian, me and Coach Flo we're gonna, have a connection, and it was gonna be in Miami. It was almost a no-brainer for me.
Right, like sign me up. I'm on the airplane.
Yep, exactly. Like I'll be down there next week.
Nice. I don't blame you. Miami's the place to be. And of course, Tampa, jealous I'm not there. You We'll get back to sunny skies very soon. We have another question from the fans. If you are wearing the Super Bowl ring, we see it. We want to see the bling bling. We don't always get to see it.
No, I think I actually, if I'm being honest, I think I've worn it like once or twice, and it's just been in, in my safe. No, I don't really wear it too much. Maybe when I'm older, I'll start bringing them out. But I want to collect a couple more.
It's good to be humble, and it's funny. I will tell you, I bet once you're done in the National Football League, you'll start to wear it more. Because when I'm all the older,
I'll be wanting to relive the glory days.
Exactly, they're always rocking the ring, so it will happen to you in the future. And as we're talking about Hawaii, I think one person that kind of made more people think about what it was like growing up there was our former president Barack Obama. Right, he was born in Hawaii and spent time in Hawaii. Just curious, do you have any ties to that, or was that kind of cool for you to see somebody in the White House that had ties to Hawaii?
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. I think that just the funniest thing that we had was because he went to Punahou out here, which was a rival high school of my high school. But my aunties actually went there, and they have I think one of them was in the same class as him. They have all these class pictures with him, so they still rep that to this day. Yeah, but that's really the only connection that we had.
That is pretty cool. I just had I brought that up. But then I do want to go back to what you touched on earlier. This was a COVID year. Everything was so different, right? From what you had to get used to playing in stadiums with no fans. You had to get used to getting tested, right, almost daily. Just getting scared pretty much to go out, right? Because you couldn't interact with things. So talk about that process for you. How in the off season were you able to kind of keep in shape? And then when you got to the season, how were you able to kind of get your mind focused in a year that was just so different from all the others when you played in the National Football League?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a different year in just every aspect possible. The training, I think, was a different, was a totally different feel. We didn't have OTAs. We were kind of working out at home. We were, I was lucky enough. I found this gym or this warehouse that had all this stuff, and I bought all this equipment from them and set it up in my house. So I had a pretty good setup. But even then, I mean, you're training by yourself. It was a little harder to get together with some of the guys and really push each other. So I think for me, that really tested me and, my just mental toughness trying to, it's a lot harder to train when you're just by yourself than when you're, with a lot of other guys and having to push through certain things. So, yeah. And then, I mean, when the season started, it was just a whole nother battle. We're getting tested every single day where the guys are having to sit out if they, have a sniffles or anything. If the guy come in with a sore throat, and it doesn't even have to be COVID, they're missing a couple of days. So it was a pretty frustrating year. But our training staff did a great job at just managing everything, and they killed it. So and keeping us as safe as possible.
Yeah, which is great, and which is why we're glad that we got to finish the football season. And now something happens, with the Super Bowl. I know the Kansas City Chiefs barber gave us all a big scare.
Yeah, that was crazy. I couldn't believe that.
Crazy, right? But I understand. I know you guys love a good shape up, so I guess I understood the importance. Come on, it's like, come on, you almost canceled.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
It is though. You
can't go into the Super Bowl with no cut.
That's true, right? Especially if you take that helmet off, you're going to be in pretty much every paper everywhere. So it's just super, super scary. But again, I mean, a year unlike any other, and just kind of staying on that. I mean, how were you as a defensive unit just able to kind of stay so strong? We talk about just the brotherhood that you all had, and just again a pretty great season for the defense for the Miami Dolphins.
I think I just credit that to Coach Flo. He really just held us to a high standard every week, and it's just business, that's the way he does things, and it's if you're not performing, then we're gonna find someone that does. So it really kind of pushed you in that mentality. Is we wanted to be a good defense, and we had goals and we had standards, and they had to be met. So yeah.
And obviously just proven, and we're already excited for that coming down. And going back to Hawaii, you're doing something that's pretty exciting. You have a product launch, right? Aloha Modern, and I hope I'm saying this right, Waikiki Water. Did I do okay?
Yeah. Waiakea Water, yeah. Waiakea. Close. We'll work on that. Yeah, so I'm doing, Aloha Modern does a lot. They made this new towel. It's almost like a dry fit towel, but the technology is a little different with it, and it's amazing. But it's more their mission statement that's amazing. they go out and they're really telling heritage and stories through their products and their prints. So that's something that I fell in love with. And then obviously Wildcat water. You know, I grew up on Big Island, like an hour away from the volcano. So I needed that water.
Something in the water, right? But
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Cool. And then just to further tell the people about this water, the good people about this water, it's naturally alkaline, right? And then carbon neutral, and 1 liter equals 1 week of clean water. And like you said, Hawaiian volcanic water from Big Island. So talk about, you know, I'm one of those people, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm like, is there any difference between water? But volcanic water just sounds special. Like
it just hits a little different, you know. It's like you have your Aquafina, your Dasani, and then this is like this is up there with like the Fiji and all that. So it's just refreshing and it's amazing, and I think it's just close to me because it's from where I'm from.
Yeah, it sounds good. Like I said, I mean, you're gonna rep items from where you're from. You can speak to it, like you said.
Absolutely, you got to support local.
You got to. You have to, especially in a time like now. I'd say more than definitely would support local business. And tell us, is this a product that we can just go to our grocery store, we can go to Costco and get it? Like, how can we get access to it? Do we have to go on?
Yeah, I mean, Wildcat is, I think it's nationally, they're blowing up. You know, they're everywhere. I think you can go to your regular gas station and you'll find some there. You know, and as for a lot of modern, we're working on things. I think they're blowing up here locally, and hopefully soon they'll be on a national stage. So, or even a world stage. So we're working through things, and they're doing it. I'm just a very minute part of their mission and their you know, their products. So they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be just fine.
That's exciting to hear. Again, people, you're always gonna get thirsty. Might as well get some good water to quench your thirst. And staying on water is something that's also important to you, is caring for the oceans. I learned a lot just for this interview, because I knew I was doing it with you. I knew how important it was. The ocean produces over half of the world's oxygen and absorbs 50 times more carbon dioxide than our atmosphere, covering 70% of the Earth's surface. All right, so people, it's important. I feel like we don't talk about it enough, especially if you're not in a place like Hawaii to think about water. But educate us, because I think we need to learn more. As we know, the Earth is polluted. You know, we're going through so many things. So tell us why we need to just do better, do more.
Yeah, well, I'm not a scientist, but I can just tell you from my upbringing. You know, like, the ocean is everything to Hawaiians here. And, you know, we, as a kid, I can remember being as young as kindergarten, you know, our field trips where, you know, some of them we go to see some cool stuff, and some of them, they were kind of tricking us to just go to the beach and we're picking up trash. But it's, you know, it's a good thing, you know, throughout, I think once every year growing up, we would take a field trip and do a beach cleanup and all that kind of stuff, because you see, I mean, for us, we go out, we take the canoes out, we go spearfishing, we go diving, and, you know, we see, you know, these beautiful turtles, these whales, these seals, any of these things, they're wrapped up in, you know, nets and all this kind of pollution. So, and it just damages the reefs and just kills these reefs that give so much life to our island.
Right.
And I think that's, you know, that's the biggest thing, is people don't really realize the products they use and the products that they, you know, are throwing away and just throwing on the side of the road actually end up in the ocean. So
just do better, people. That's what we're saying. We're dependent upon water. You guys want clean, fresh water. And of course, we want the world to be around a long time. So we all collectively, again, try not to pollute, especially our good water. And as we're saying on this, I can't let you go without talking about the big game. It's coming up this Sunday. Again, I know the cards are not coming. I got to get your thoughts. We have Patrick Mahomes going against Tom Brady. Tell me your thoughts and who you have winning.
I mean, it's going to be, it's a toss-up. Honestly, it's a toss-up. But for me, I can't lie, I would love to see Brady win another one. If he gets 7 rings, that's just a stamp it right there. If it's not, you know, already been said, and if it's already not set in stone, he wins this one, he's the greatest ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? Number 7, it puts a lot of debate to rest. I think he's already put that, but just how special that would be.
Exactly, yeah.
Home stadium. I mean, does it get any better than that?
Exactly.
So it sounds like Brady surprised you this year, or were you expecting just greatness from Brady, even with the new team?
I mean, I didn't know what to really expect, but once I started seeing them go, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's your final score prediction?
I'm gonna go 31-24 Tampa.
Oh, okay, cool. Patrick Mahomes is getting the job done. They're not running it back in KC.
I don't think so. I don't think so. We'll see, though.
It's a very hard job. And since we're in the DMV area of Baltimore, just curious, any favorite memories playing against our Washington football team or the Baltimore Ravens?
No, I mean, being in Philly, we played, the Washington football team twice a year, and there's just great memories from everything, and just but not one I could pinpoint right now. Yeah.
Well, we'll take that. And then before I let you go, I also love to hear about your inspiration. So who were your favorite players growing up? And is there any player that you tried to resemble your game after?
Growing up, Randy Moss and Brian Dawkins, those two were my guys. I mean, to this day, I still think I don't really like fangirl over anyone, but if I met Randy Moss, it would be one of those. And I actually had, being in Philly, Brian Dawkins was working with us, so meeting him and having a lot of one-on-one time with him was amazing for me. So those two have been definitely great inspirations on my game.
Yeah, you went high. Those are two very, very great.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense that you were so good at football. And before I let you go, just any last words for the listening audience?
What is that? I'm sorry. Say it one time.
No worries. Any last words for the listening audience? We already got some Dolphins fans tuning in. So any last words?
Yeah, fins up is right. Get ready for a great year next year, and it'll be us playing in February.
Ooh, I love that. All right, you guys heard it from him first. So we're already preparing for the Miami Dolphins next year's Super Bowl. Again, thank you so much for joining the show. Truly appreciate your time. Stay safe this offseason and enjoy the big game on Sunday.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Have a great one.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this special live stream edition of Listen In With KNN. We'll be back this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for another live stream edition with former Washington football team player Tony McGee. So much great stuff to talk about. You won't want to miss it. And also check out special audio versions of the show. I just had Mia Killer B. Ellis on. If you're a fan of boxing, she's Baltimore's own. You definitely want to check out that show. She just had a 46-second knockout. So you're definitely going to want to check out the audio version of that show. And again, Tony McGee, this Saturday at 2 p.m. And then also I'll be releasing one talking about the GameStop frenzy and everything else with Jarrett Felton, an investment advisor. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Again, I'll see you Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time live. Be sure to ask your questions and hashtag Listen In with KNN or hashtag LIWKNN to make sure you interact with the show. Thanks as always, and I'll see you guys then. Have a great one. Stay safe. And of course, we're all preparing for that big game Sunday. Bye, guys.
Follow Kelsey on social media at The Real K Nelson. Catch episodes of Listen In with KNN on YouTube, on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Thank you for watching this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN.
You used to hear me on your airwaves or hear me on my hit podcast, but now I'm taking you to the screen. You'll love Elevator Thoughts. We will talk the latest trending in sports. It's game time. What better way to get to know those that visit the show than over some good food and drink? It's time for confessions.